Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshu Nam Hitarthaya Tattva Bodho Vidhiyate. In the last class, we started the discussion on karma theory. This is discussed in Tattva Bodha under the topic actions and freedom from bondage in actions. So, we already discussed about the man of realization, enlightened person. An enlightened person has gone above all the vasanas, and once you are enlightened, you have no karma. Till then, you are caught in the bondage of karma. So therefore, this discussion becomes very important. So we discussed this in the last class. A full class was spent for this. Now we will get on to the text, what Adi Shankaracharya is discussing. Only thing is, he is discussing this karma theory from the ignorant person's angle and also from the enlightened person's angle. Karma theory from ignorant person's angle, karma theory from enlightened person's angle. So, we say that if you are enlightened, you become free from karma. In the sense, a person who's got the knowledge of the self is free from the karmas, the bondage of karma. Till then, as long as you remain ignorant of your true self, true nature, you will be bound by the karma. So, what are these karmas? How they bind us? How can we rise above them? And once we rise above them, how do we become free from it? All that discussion we are going to see. So the next, I'll just share the screen. So the discussion is about actions, karma, and freedom from bondage in actions. So first he's talking about the karmas. Karmani katividani santi iti chet agami sanchita prarabdha vedena trividani santi. So the next question is, if it is asked, how many kinds of karmas are there? The reply is, there are 3 kinds of karmas, namely agami, sanchita, prarabdha. So you say, if it is asked, if you ask, since we discussed about the karmas, because in the end when he said, when he talked about man of realization, he said, a man of realization by that immediate knowledge becomes free from karma bandhas. He becomes free from all karmas. So he is asked, the student might ask, if you ask how many types of karmas, how many kinds of karmas are there, then the reply to that is, there are 3 kinds of karmas called as agami, sanchita and prarabdha. So therefore, when we are living in the world, we will be doing actions. And for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. We have studied this in science. So the actions will produce results. Now, the results can be of 2 types. One is which is drishtabalam, and the other is adrishtabalam. Drishtabalam means that which can be seen. Adrishtabalam means that which cannot be seen. So when you do an action, there are certain results that you see in the external world immediately or in the due course due to that action. If you take a decision, there is a certain consequence. You will see that at the practical level. Now, Shastras say for those actions there are also adrishtabal, which they call as punya and papa. You understand? So, if the result happens to be good, if the consequence happens to be good, which cannot be seen, they call that as punya. And those which are negative and cannot be seen, they call as papa. So, there are seen consequences, unseen consequences. So, once you do the action, you will have to go through the consequences. There is only one exemption to this, that is man of realization. How he or she is an exemption? How does he not come under this way of karma? What is the effect of those karmas on him? We are going to discuss, him or her, we are going to discuss that. So, these actions are categorized, he says, into three types called as agami, sanchita and prarabdha. What are they? He is going to discuss next. Let's continue. What is agami karma? He first discusses. Jnanopatyanantaram jnani deha kritam punya papa rupam karma edasti tad agamityabhidhiyate. The results of actions, good or bad, performed by the realized soul, jnani, after the dawn of knowledge are known as agami. Now, this, what Adi Shankaracharya gives here, as I said, we believe the text is given by Adi Shankaracharya. Some people may say no, given by somebody else. Doesn't matter. The Guru here says, like I said, he is discussing the three karmas, not just from the ignorant person angle, he is also discussing the three karmas from the jnani angle. We must understand this. So, because generally in the class, some of you have been attending our other sessions also. So, when we discuss about agami, sanchita and prarabdha karmas, we would have said that when you take birth, and if that birth happens to be human birth, then you have what is called as choice of action. If the birth is not human birth, if it is any other birth, they don't have choice of action. They merely express their nature, programmed by the nature. They come express their nature without kartritva, doership, the animals and all. And as a result, they don't create fresh karmas as they are exhausting their karmas. So we say, only human beings, having been born as a human being, have the choice of action. And with that choice of action, a human being can exhaust the bundle of vasanas or create fresh vasanas. Exhaust the bundle of karmas or create fresh karmas. Having been born as a human being, if you create fresh karmas, those karmas are called as agami karma. This is what we have discussed always. Now here you are reading the Guru saying the results of actions, good or bad, performed by the body of the realized soul, yani, after the dawn of knowledge are known as agami. So you may get confused. See, what we must understand is you already have a bundle of karmas. Those bundle of karmas are called as total, called as sanchita. From that, some propel you to take birth, which is propelling you to take birth. They are called as prarabdha. We are going to discuss this in detail next. But I'm just saying, to explain this agami, I need to talk about it. So there is a total, like you have too many investments, assets, everything. All that put together is your total assets. From that, one or two fixed deposits have matured. Those that has matured karmas are called prarabdha, which has propelled you to take birth. And if that propulsion happened to be of human birth, then having been born as a human being, you can create fresh karmas or exhaust the sanchita. So that new karmas that you create having been born as a human being is called agami karma. Now, these agami karmas that you have created will join the sanchita after the physical body dies. It will go and join the total. Then from the total, few things that's matured, again as prarabdha will give you the next birth. This is the theory. So, agami karma is those karmas that we create when we, as human beings, do certain actions before jnanam. Because once you have attained jnanam, you don't create fresh karma, is what we have been discussing all along. Now suddenly in Tattva Bodha you are hearing this, so there may be confusion. Therefore I am emphasizing on that and talking. I am not retracting what we discussed before. That is true, that holds good. So from one angle, what we discussed is correct to say that there is no karma for the realized soul. Once you have gained the knowledge, thereafter you don't create fresh karma. So in the class also I've given so many times examples. You don't consciously fall. You only consciously get down if at all. You cannot fall. All this we have discussed. All that holds true. Now what the Guru is trying to say here is, and also when we talk about karma, another point which is very important. The intentions are very, very important. We say the doctor also is plunging a knife in the patient's body, and a terrorist may also be plunging knife in the other person's body. But the terrorist's intention is to kill. The doctor's intention is to save the life. Now, the result may be after the terrorist plunges the knife in somebody's body, still that person may survive. And after the doctor plunges the knife in somebody's body to save his life, still the patient may die. Just because in the other case, when the terrorist tried to murder somebody, he survived, doesn't mean the terrorist will not incur karma. Similarly, the doctor plunged the knife to save, but he died. Doesn't mean he will incur karma. Intention decides karma, we say. So, this is also correct. But from another angle, whatever action you may do without ego, without doership. That is the case in the case of a jnani. But the action per se will have repercussion. This is another angle of discussion. Both at the, the seen level and the unseen level. You have only control till you make the choice and act upon it. But once you have acted, you might not have intention. See, what the explanation given for this is, Even a jnani who is risen above the ego may inadvertently do certain actions. For example, a disciple might have done something, and the guru might, based on the available data, might see that he's done something wrong, and he may talk to him little firmly. Another person may have done something really bad, but the data are not there. Based on that, the guru might have let him go. Whatever it is, just giving a gross example. Guru has no intention, neither good nor bad. You understand? There is no motive. He or she just acted. But that action will have its repercussions at the seen level and the unseen level. So that karma in the context he is calling as agami. That's why I said agami karma discussed from the angle of enlightened soul. Also, there is another explanation some people give for this. A person produces karma in this janma till the time he or she is realizing. Let's say somebody started the spiritual journey around 25, 30. And unless they have really evolved, within 5 years, 10 years, they might get enlightened. Otherwise, maybe 30, 40 years, they are doing a lot of actions, and then maybe around when they are 60, 70, they may realize. Till such time, they are also creating agami karma. Okay, maybe at the age of 60, 70, they are enlightened. Then they continue to live due to prarabdha, and then they give up the physical body. What happens to those karmas that they created when they were ignorant? That's another angle of discussion. So from all these angles, they say, yagami karma, basically all you need to understand is nothing but that which you created in this janma after having been born as a human being. But from all practical reasons, we say that there is no agami karma for a jnani. So here he says, the results of actions, good or bad, performed by the body of the self-realized soul. Because in the mind he has no intention. That's why he says the body. So one of the examples they usually give is, for example, when you are walking. Now, you might inadvertently stamp on ants. Consciously you are not doing anything. Sometimes when you go for a walk also, there are ants. Sometimes you try to avoid them and go. It's not in your control. You might stamp. So they say even such actions will have some karma. But the fact that the jnani has risen above the ego, the doer shape, the jnani will not come under the sway of such karma. That karma created in such situations is what he is calling here as agami. But as far as the jnani is concerned, it will have no effect on him. Whom will it go to? That he discusses later. In this, he is only saying this. The results of actions, good or bad, performed by the body of the realized soul. We cannot say that when we talk about the ignorant person. In the case of ignorant person, it's not just the body doing. The mind and intellect, the intention is also there. The ego is there, the motive is there. So when it comes to self-realized soul, that's why he's very particularly, he's mentioning it here. Jnani deha kritam. Through the body, performed by the body of the realized soul. He is not doing, he is not the doer. He understands that. So therefore, after the dawn of knowledge, it's only the body that is doing the action. Such actions are called as agami, he says. Next, sanchita. Sanchitam karma kim anantakoti janmanam bijabhutam sat yat karma jatam purvarjitam tishtati tat sanchitam nyayam. So, he says, what is sanchita? That's the next question. The results of actions performed in all previous births, which are in seed form and giving rise to endless crores of births in future, Ananta Koti Janmana, are called Sanchita, which means accumulated total karma. These are called Sanchita karma. So now, what is Sanchita? Sanchita means total. Sanchita means accumulated. So he says, in all the previous janmas, you keep on accumulating. Like I said, you see, in this janma, you are creating agami karma, fresh karmas. And when the person dies, the physical body is given up, the agami karma goes and joins the sanchita. Like this, in many janmas, you've collected so much. The total collected karmas are called sanchita. That's all it is. So, like they say, one of the examples they give is, there's a lot of grains that is collected and kept in a godown. From that grain, from the total grains, you take a little bit and you sow them in the ground. That little bit that you take and sow them in the ground is called prarabdha. Now, once you sow them in the ground, they grow and they produce so many more grains, seeds. That is called agami. Now, what happens to these grains that you've grown? You again take it back into the godown and it becomes part of total collected grains. So that's what he's saying here. The total collected karma is called sanchita. So what is sanchita? The results of actions performed in all previous births are in seed form and giving rise to endless crores of births in future are called sanchita, accumulated karma. Then the third one, prarabdha karma. What is prarabdha karma is the next discussion. Prarabdham karma kimiti chet idam shariram utpadya ihaloke eva sukhadukkadi pradam yat karma tat prarabdham bhogena nashtam bhavati prarabdha karmanam bhogad eva kshaya iti. So he says, having given birth to this body, the actions which give result in this very world in the form of sukha and dukkha, happiness or misery, and which can be destroyed only by enjoying or suffering, is called prarabdha karma. Then those enjoying them, only by enjoying them, is called prarabdha karma. So what he's saying is, he didn't say this when he talked about sanchita karma. He's saying this specifically when he talks about prarabdha karma. So what is this prarabdha karma? Like I told you, from the total grains that is collected, a little grain is sowed in the ground. Another example which we discussed was, you have total assets. From that, one or two fixed deposits have matured. Those matured fixed deposits are now ripened. So those vasanas that requires propulsion pushes you to take birth, and that can only be exhausted through experiences. Experience of what? Joy and sorrow, happiness and misery, enjoying or suffering. Because once the arrow is shot, you might have shot looking at a particular target. Now you pull the string back, you kept the arrow on the bow, pull the string back, focusing on a particular target, and you release the arrow. The arrow is traveling. Now suddenly in between some other person or object can come in between. Your intention was not to harm that person, but the arrow is released. You cannot stop it now. Once you pull the trigger, you cannot stop the bullet. So that's what they're saying. That will go and have its end. So that is called prarabdha. That a person will have to go through, experience and exhaust. So in a way, if you understand this, you will not be so much concerned or bothered about this prarabdha karma. Because anyway it will make you experience and it will get exhausted. So why bother about it? So the only thing that we really need to focus on is what? The sanchita karma. And agami also we need to focus on. In the sense, the total collected karma and the karmas that I am freshly creating now. So I have to think how I can stop from creating fresh karmas and how I can exhaust the already collected karmas. As far as this prarabdha is concerned, I can't do much. Because that will go through, give you the experience. Only thing you can do is how you face it. There you have a choice. You have no choice with reference to facing it, with reference to going through it. You will have to go through. But how you face it, how you go through it, that you have a choice. So that's what he's saying here. Having given birth to this body, it is a prarabdha that has propelled you to take this birth. The place where you're born, the body, the situations, all that can be prarabdha. But in fact, when you really start discussing too much, you can't really understand what is prarabdha and all. Won't get into all that. So now what have we discussed? You have been collecting lot of karmas in many janmas, ananta koti janmas. All of them are collected, accumulated and collected together. That is called sanchita. From that sanchita, few are propelled you to take birth. They are called prarabdha. Now, if that prarabdha happens to be of human birth, you have the choice of action, you have the ego, you have the doership. You think I am the doer, therefore you will have the enjoyership also. You will be creating karmas as you have doership, which will have seen and unseen effects, called as what they call drishtapalam, adrishtapalam. And the consequences that can be seen, the consequences that are unseen, punya and papa. The freshly created karmas in this janma is called agami. Now that agami karma, when you give up the body, will again become part of sanchita. And the prarabdha, which propelled you to take birth, you can only exhaust through action. You can only experience them. The experiences will be in the form of happiness or misery. You will be enjoying or suffering. How much you will enjoy, how much you will suffer, how you will experience it will depend upon your attitude today. But you will have to go through that. This is what we have studied till now. Now the question may come, or rather the question should come. Till the time I am born as a human being, I am not going to be creating karmas. Only when I am born as a human being, I create karmas and that gets added into sanchita. Does that mean my first birth is human birth? These kind of questions may come. If my first birth was some other birth, where was the total sanchita? Because collected in previous janmas only become sanchita. So then animals don't create karmas. So then where was this when we get into this? Which came first? In a way we are asking that. Then if you are asking with wrong attitude, just for argument's sake, Vedanta will say, listen, you tell me, you are talking so much about this and that, you tell me whether the chicken came first or the egg came first, seed came first or the tree came first. Then I'll answer this question. But when you genuinely with right attitude you ask, Vedanta says, listen, there is no answer to this. See, where they are coming from, we need to understand. When you observe the universe, it's only the human being who is having this exaggerated ego consciousness. Other species don't have this exaggerated ego consciousness. And as a result of this, there is something positive, there is something negative also. Human being alone ask this question consciously. Who am I, what am I, etc. No animal is asking. No animal is discussing Tattva Bodha. Only human beings. What is the purpose of life? This, that. No animal is discussing all this. So that's a positive. The negative is, because of this exaggerated ego consciousness, the human being is feeling a separate identity and gets caught in stress and strain. There is no stress and strain for animals except the temporary time when a zebra confronts a tiger. And when the zebra runs and escapes, quickly it forgets it is grazing the grass, no problem. But that's not the case with human being. So there is positive and negative both. So therefore, the discussion comes only for human beings. So in a way, what they are trying to say is, what is there is only water. You are seeing a wave. Wave is also nothing but water. Ocean is also nothing but water. A wave, just imagine, a wave is separating itself from the ocean and thinking itself to be a wave, a separate entity, and in comparison to the total ocean, however big the wave may be, it will still be a finite entity. And the moment it realizes that I am finite, and that consciousness, that ego consciousness is there, instantly the fear of being non-existing, perishing, others killing, all that comes. That's called samsara. But this is just a narration. That I am separate is just a narration. If you really think about it. This I discussed last class. Please, those who have not attended, or even those who attended, if you want, go back and listen to that. So, when did we really start this I am this body, mind, intellect complex? That ego. Only from that angle, the karma, whole thing starts. So therefore, the theory is explained from that angle only. The moment we get into which came first, Vedanta very openly submits. It has no answer to that question. Don't waste your time. So now we have seen three karmas. What are they? Sanchita, Prarabdha, Agami. Sanchita means total karmas that has been collected in all the janmas. And from that, whatever little pushed you into this janma, propelled you into this janma, that's called Prarabdha. And once you are born as a human being, you create fresh vasanas maybe. Those vasanas that you have created freshly are called Agami. And he discussed that Agami karma with reference to Jnani. You understand? So he said, Jnani also is going to function. Now this, another thing we need to understand. Because of Prarabdha, we are born. The Prarabdha, he said, can only be exhausted through experience. Now, which means what? The Sanchita can be exhausted without having to go through them. How it will be exhausted? Only through knowledge. He's going to say that. And once you've got the knowledge and exhausted the Sanchita, you are called as a Jnani. Jivan Mukta. Now, once you become a jnani, fully aware being, which means what? You do not have that identification with that narration that I am this ego, that I am this body mind intellect complex, I am Lakshmi Narayan. That narration has died. That notion has died. Which means what? I am ocean. In fact, it is not even I am ocean. It is I am water. I am Jiva. I am Ishvara. I am Brahman. Initially you say Aham Jiva. Then you say Aham Ishvara. Then you say Aham Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. So this is what we are going to study. So once you've got the Aham Brahmasmi Jnanam, you are called as Jivan Mukta. He already mentioned that when we discussed about man of realization. Now this Jivan Mukta, having become Jivan Mukta, now will not create fresh karma. Means what? Through the mind. But through the body he is acting. Why he is acting? Why he or she is acting? Because prarabdha is there. For this we give another example. What? When you switch on the fan and it is running at 5 speed or 4 speed and you switch it off. Though you have switched off, electricity is not passing. Yet the fan's momentum is there, because of which the blades will continue to rotate as long as the momentum lasts. Slowly it dies away. Like that, due to the prarabdha, the jnani's body continues. But as far as he is concerned or she is concerned, that narration, that notion, identity with it is gone. They don't think themselves to be Jiva or Ishvara. They understand that they are Brahman. This is clear? But the body is acting. When the body is going on acting, like I said, without any ego, they might have taken certain wrong decisions. Intention is not wrong. Based on the data only they do. So that will have its effect, good or bad. Or even walking, talking, so many insects and all that are being killed. That will have its effect, both unseen and seen effects. What happens to all that is what he is going to discuss from now on. How does Sanchita Vasana, Sanchita Karma end? What happens to Prarabdha Karma after you've realized? What happens to Agami? All this he is discussing next. What happens to the Sanchita Karma of the realized master? That is the next question. Here only the discussion now shifts to freedom from the bondage in actions. Sanchitam karma brahmaivahamiti nishayatmaka jnanena nashyati. He says Sanchitam karma is destroyed by the firm knowledge. What knowledge? I am the truth. Brahman alone. Sanchitam karma is destroyed by the firm knowledge, not just knowledge that we got in the class or by reading the book. Otherwise, after the Tattva Bodha class, all of us must be realized. So there is no firm knowledge. What is that kind of knowledge which we discussed? He said knowledge that can be got through pratyaksha, direct perception. Other is indirect and the other is immediate. This knowledge cannot be got through pratyaksha, direct knowledge, nor indirect, paroksha. It can only be got through immediate. It's called aparoksha jnanam. This we studied. So that immediate knowledge where you clearly see, understand that you are not this collection of this memory. You are not this narrative that has been set for so many years, the collection of all these experiences. You ask yourself, who are you? You are nothing but a bundle of memories. Ego is nothing but memories of the past. I'm born to so and so. I grew up here. I did this, I did that. All that put together is your ego. This body itself is made up of so many cells. Now you are having this notion that this whole thing is from head to toe is one person. But it is made up of so many cells. And the cells are replenishing and changing also. Similarly, now for example, I'm having, when I say I, including my hair only I'm saying. But hair is falling. And something new is adding to me as I'm eating. Something is leaving my body. So this is what I'm calling as me. But I'm actually thinking that I'm separate, I'm alone. But actually I'm not that. So once I start understanding this, that narrative which is set that I am separate, I'm that ego, I'm that notion, as a result of which I'm going through all this samsara, and all can end only when I kill this narrative. This narrative can be killed only through knowledge, questioning, inquiry, viveka. This he beautifully says in the 15th chapter of the Gita, asanga shastrena dridena chitva. Through vairagya and viveka, through renunciation, through placing the right value by understanding the world, questioning the world, and through viveka, you cut through this notion, the samsara. So he says, through the knowledge which is firmly established in you, jnanena nashyati. Which one? Sanchitam karma. What kind of jnanam? Brahma eva aham iti jnanam. And what kind of jnanam? Nishchayatmaka jnanam. Nishchayatmaka jnanena nashyati. What kind of jnanam? I am Brahman alone. I am water alone. I am neither wave nor ocean. I am neither the Jiva nor the Ishvara. I am Brahman. Once that understanding comes, then instantly the total that I've collected and kept goes. And when that goes, I become free from the agami also. There is no total. This agami is not going to go and join that once I die after gaining this knowledge. So I told you, when you gain this knowledge and assert that I am Brahman, you are a Jivan Mukta, but Prarabdha continues. As a result, the body continues. But when the body also dies after the Prarabdha is exhausted, you are called as Videha Mukta. When you got the knowledge, exhausted the Sanchita and no Agami, but continuing due to Prarabdha, the body is continuing due to Prarabdha, you are called as Jivan Mukta. And when the body also dies after Prarabdha is exhausted, you are called as Videha Mukta. And once you become Videha Mukta, all three karmas are gone. Sanchita, Prarabdha, Agami. Then there is no more birth. That's what we say. For all practical purposes, even when you are a Jivan Mukta, you do not have next birth. Why? Because you have exhausted Sanchita and Agami, which can be exhausted through knowledge. Now what happens to Prarabdha? That will get exhausted through experience. So from all practical purposes, you are realized. No more birth. This is what he is saying. So Sanchita karma can be exhausted through knowledge. So that's why we say, don't worry about all this. Oh, maybe I inadvertently, knowingly, unknowingly created so many karmas in this janma and I already have total. Don't worry about all that. It doesn't matter how long you've been in dream. The moment you wake up, the dream which could have existed for janmas or just existed for few seconds, will dissolve. This is a fantastic dream in which you are caught. That can only exhaust through deep questioning, for which you need to be free from the preoccupations of the world. That's why he emphasized on those qualifications. And then with those qualifications, when you do inquiry, you will slowly develop more and more vairagya and your vivek shakti increases. Then you are not going to shun company, you are not going to go against company, but you are comfortable being alone. So I talked about tanithiru, pasithiru, vidithiru. 3 things I said. Being alone, tanithiru. Pasithiru means being hungry. What it means is not regulated life. Then vidithiru, with awareness. You will slowly start doing this inquiry. Then you will start seeing, Are Babre, how foolishly I have created this narrative. And each one is caught in their own narrative. But I am this Lakshmi Narayana, I am this body, mind, intellect, you are this, you are that, and you are good, you are bad, in this narrative. So, when in that deep inquiry, in a very calm mind, that narrative dissolves, all karmas dissolve. But the fact that this body is calm, it will continue. But as far as you are concerned, you are free. That's all he says. Sanchita karma is destroyed by the firm knowledge. I am the truth, Brahman alone. This knowledge, this understanding. Then next, what happens to Agami? He says, Agami karma api jnanena nashyati kincha agami karma nam nalini dalagata jalavat jnani nam sambandho nasti. He says the agami karma is also destroyed by knowledge. The agami karma is also destroyed by knowledge, because once you got the knowledge, why would you create karma? Because you are not identifying with that narrative that I am separate. Only when you identify with that narrative that I am separate, I am this identity, then you will have to protect that. So you have to amass wealth, to do this, do that, all kinds of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, mascharya, all that comes. You have become free from the narrative. You won't create fresh karmas also. So he says, the agami karma is also destroyed by the knowledge. The wise man is not affected by it. And he gives one example. As lotus leaf is not affected by the water on it. Lotus leaf is born in water, lives in water, dies in water. It has got nothing to do with water. Similarly, a person who's got this knowledge, the body may continue, but for all practical purposes, he or she is become free. No more agami karma for that person. But like I said, he already said agami karma from the jnani angle. He already said in the beginning that the karmas created by the body of the jnani. What will happen to that? That he is going to discuss. He is discussing. So he says the agami karma is also destroyed by the knowledge. The agami karma is also destroyed by the knowledge, and the wise man is not affected by it. Not only is not affected by agami karma, he is also not affected by the prarabdha. Due to prarabdha, the wise man may be going through certain situations. That's why you find it is told that Swami Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had to go through certain disease. Swami Ramana Maharishi also went through something. All this you hear. But as far as they are concerned, even though the body goes through due to prarabdha, they are not affected by it. They just go through it like the lotus leaf is not affected by the water. When in the Bhagavad Gita gives this example, Padma Patra Ivambasa. The knowledge So, once you've got the knowledge, to the extent you've got the knowledge, you will meet with prarabdha with the right attitude. You will accept it. You know, when you see this surfers, those who surf on the ocean, they take the surfing board with them and go into the ocean. When the waves come, they bow down, they bend down, and they come out. They're not fighting with it. And then they go up to a certain point and then they ride on the wave. Like that. You understand? I might have done something, should have done something in the past. Nothing comes without me having sown the seed. That's why in Vedanta we say, you get what you deserve, not what you desire. If it's coming, means you must have deserved. You are punished or rewarded by your actions, not for your actions. So you understand something I must have done. What it is, I don't know. In this Janma, previous Janma, pata nahi. But it is come now. So now I'm not going to fight with it. I'll go through it. The very fact that I'm prepared and ready, accepting and facing it, not shunning it responsibly, the affectation is reduced in proportion to my knowledge and preparedness. When it is 100%, no affectation. What is going through? He is not affected, she is not. This is what he is saying. Now, what happens to this agami karma of a jnani, which I said, no, the body is creating. What happens to that? That he explains in the next discussion. Kincha e jnaninam stuvanti, bhajanti, archayanti, tan priti jnani kritam agami punyam gacchati, ye jnaninam nindanti, dvishanti, dukkha pradhanam kurvanti, tan priti jnani kritam sarvam agami kriyamanam yada vachyam karma papatmakam tad gacchati suhrida punyakrityam duhrida papakrityam grinnanti iti. What he's saying here is, further to those who praise, serve and worship the wise man, go the results of the good actions done by the wise man. To those who criticize, hate or cause pain to the wise man, go the results of all unpraiseworthy and sinful actions done by the wise. Very, very interesting what he's saying. You see, as far as the wise person is concerned, through the knowledge from the Shastra and the Guru and Viveka inquiry, along with Vairagya, he's cut through this iron rod called samsara with the saw of inquiry. You understand? The saw sharpened by the Shastra and the Guru Jnanam, and the oil which helps the saw to cut through the iron rod is the devotion. With that, he or she has cut through the iron rod called samsara. Which means what? They have broken all identity with their body. The body is existing. So as the body is existing, now Jnani may be giving lecture somewhere, or he is talking, he is walking somewhere, he is sitting somewhere. So he has killed some ants, this, that, whatever. And it has produced some karma. What happens to those karmas? It has to go somewhere. See, the karmas can only express through the body. That's why when you create karma, it expresses through the body of the next Janma. So now, as far as this person is concerned, through the knowledge, he is or she has exhausted the karmas. No identity with the body anymore. Now, the people who are serving, praising, worshipping, are people who are criticizing, hating, causing pain to the jnani, whichever category you belong to. You are identifying with the body of the jnani. This is the main thing we need to understand. We are identifying with the body of the jnani. Some are praising, serving, worshipping. Some are criticizing, hating, causing pain. So he says, the good desires, the good karma, put it that way. Further, to those who praise, serve, and worship the wise man, go the results of the good actions done by the wise man. To those who criticize, hate, or cause pain, to the wise man, go the results of all unpraiseworthy and sinful actions done by the wise. When he says sinful actions done by the wise doesn't do sinful action or punya karma. It is done by their body. Please understand that. We already mentioned that jnani deha kritam. That needs to be understood. But the fact that those karmas will also have to find its way through. It will find its way through those people who identified with the body of the jnani. So if you are associated with the jnani and you are serving and identifying with the body, those punyas all come to you. They will all serve as what? The tailwind in an aircraft. Isn't it? Sometimes you see the same distance aircraft reaches few minutes before. Maybe it's running at the same speed, all occasions, but it reaches 5 minutes, 10 minutes before. Why? Tailwind. Even though it is running at the same speed, it may reach 10 minutes late. Why? Headwind. So when we serve the gurus, jnanis, we get their karmas as tailwind. When we do ninda, we get it as headwind. Apart from our karma, we are creating that also. Why? Because we have identified with that body. We are all identified, no? Because I am identified with my body, so I am going to see all of you as the body only. So to that extent, that karma comes to them. The very interesting thing he says, this we don't discuss generally in the classes. At least I have not discussed. Only first time I am discussing it in the Tattva Bodha class because in the context. So therefore, unnecessarily, not just jnani, unnecessarily, why identify as it is, I have got enough karma. Why should I identify with anybody and then criticize? Neither have to criticize or praise. Do just speak the truth. Like Lord Buddha says, what you are going to say, is it the truth? Or is it something good for you or the person about whom you are talking or the person to whom you are talking? If it's neither the truth nor is it going to bring any good results, why talk about it? And create more and more karma for us. We should stop that. That's what he's beautifully saying here. The people who praise, serve and worship the jnanis, good karmas of the jnani goes. The person, people who criticize, hate and cause pain to the man of realization, jnani, their unpraiseworthy and sinful karmas go. Why we have to study all these things? When we understand this, not just with reference to jnani, with reference to anybody, we'll stop criticizing. In fact, Swami Ramtirtha talks about this. He says, criticism, talking ill about others is one of the greatest of all sins. Should try not do that. If at all you want to do it as a constructive criticism, which will help the person to grow. There is no need. Unnecessarily creating more karma bandha. So sanchita can be broken through knowledge. Agami can be broken through knowledge. Prarabdha can only be exhausted through experience. So as far as we are concerned, we should not get into which vasana is prarabdha, sanchita, agami and all that. Just understand whatever it may be, through knowledge, I will be able to exhaust sanchita and agami. So I should just focus on gaining knowledge. As I am gaining knowledge, sanchita and agami will get destroyed. then prarabdha will get exhausted through experience anyway. So my focus should be, having been born as a human being, only to gain knowledge and exhaust this karma. Next, the last topic is result of self-knowledge. So this is a very short topic. This we'll discuss next week, and we'll do the summary of the entire Tattva Bodha next week, and we'll conclude the text. Let's conclude the class today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.